All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to Ironside Minyan for the weekly lunch and learn that we do over here. Bezat Hashem, the Divrei Torah will be to the Refuah Shlema of Chai Rachel Bat Sarah. This week's parasha is Parashat Acharei Mot. Again, we're in the book of Vayikra. Vayikra is called the Torah Kohanim. It's the book that mostly deals with the description of the Kohen, the Mishkan, all the different tasks, all the different jobs, all the different services. And this week's parasha talks about the Yom Kippur service. We no longer do this service. It's been replaced by lip service. In other words, we don't physically do what the Kohen used to do. So now what we do, like they say, we're going to replace the service with our lip service. We're going to pray. When do we do this service that they do on Yom Kippur? Typically, it's in the Musaf prayer of Yom Kippur. It's a very long prayer. If you guys remember, on Yom Kippur there's a one Amidah that is super long, and it deals with this service of the Kohen HaGadol. This entire parasha, I was reading through it, and I felt compelled to zero in on one subject, which is the sacrifice of the Azazel goat. I want you to know that the word Azazel, when I was growing up in Israel, is something you heard the adults saying, go to, over there. It means, get out of here. Not such nice words. And I thought that's what I thought that word was, just like something that the adults say. Later on, when I opened up the Chumash and I saw it, I thought, it's Torah. It's Torah based. It has roots in the Torah learning. It has to do with the Korban. And when I started to do my research on this Azazel, I found that there's a deeper level to it. And I felt that we should zero in on it and tap into what is this Azazel goat, or what is this process that the Kohen is going through on Yom Kippur. So, basically, there's two Saireh Yezim. These are two goats that are the same size, same age, same value. And one of them goes to Hatat, Lashem. One goat is to Kedoshim Baruch Hu. And then the other one goes to Azazel. Azazel, by the way, is the name of a place and the name of the goat. And later on we'll find out it's the name of something else as well. When they say that he takes the Serei Ezim LaAzazel, it's the name of a mountain, not the name of an area. But it's also for the sake of Azazel, to give it to the Azazel is another terminology for Sitra Achra, for the other side, the Yetzer Hara. And this is all done by way of lottery. In other words, they pick out randomly which one goes to Hashem, which one goes to Azazel. The Kohen puts his hands on the one that got chosen for Azazel, and puts his hands on it, and he transfers all the sins, all Am Yisrael's sins, and all their transgressions onto that Azazel goat. He ties a red string around it, and then he walks it off to this cliff, and when it gets to the cliff, he pushes it off. The goat goes down these jagged rocks until it turns into pieces. And that red string, should it turn white, it's a signal that we were forgiven by God. If not, then otherwise. But by the string, what we want is that Azazel goat to have a white string on the bottom of that hill as a sign that the Jewish people were forgiven. And this is done one day, Yom Kippur. So the question is, why do we do it? Why, on the holiest day, by the holiest man, at the holiest time, Yom Kippur, we have this ceremony where we have two goats, and one goes to Hashem, and then it seems like we're offering, or we're giving a similar goat to the devil. It almost seems like it's a satanic offering. Because that's what it is. We're giving it to the Sitra Achra. Now we know that we're not allowed to bring animal sacrifices anywhere except in Bet HaMikdash or except in the Mishkan, and only to Hashem. It's a halacha. It says over there, "Velo zevachtem le'elohim acherim." You are not allowed to do animal sacrifices, or any sacrifices, as a matter of fact, to other gods. So what are we doing over here? What is this goat that we're giving as if to another god, or to this Azazel, or to the Sitra Achra, or to the devil, to the Yetzer Hara, whichever name you want to give him? The Ramban says that it's not a korban. It's not a korban. We didn't put it on an altar. We didn't bring it as a sacrifice. He says it's just a way to decipher between two worlds. There's Hashem, the ruler, the king of the world, and then there's another energy in this world that is connected to all the sins and everything that is negative in the world. So in order to say, okay, this is what we worship and this is what we don't worship, and just to decipher between them. It's not really that we're offering. We're giving, we're throwing a goat that way. The offering that we give is actually to Hashem. It's actually that the Jew, by doing this, is not offering a goat to Azazel. He's actually just listening to what Hashem said. Because this is instructed by Hashem. The Kohen Gadol didn't do it on his own. Okay, let me do it like this. Hashem says, bring 2 goats. One for on the Mizbeach and one for Azazel. So what's the Kohen doing? Hashem's will. Right? Nothing wrong over here. It's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So Rashi says over there, the reason why we do it is because this is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. We want to be forgiven. And who's usually the one that prosecutes us in the Shamayim? The devil, the Yetzer Hara. He's the one that stands over there and says, he did this, he did that. He's the one that's trying to get us in trouble. So he says on that day, what do? We bring him a little offering to appease him, to quiet him down, to bribe him. In other words, leave us alone on this day. We brought you something. Don't come and prosecute against us. That's what Rashi says. As if it's a bribe to the Sitra Achra. So Hashem can judge us with mercy on Yom Kippur. Okay, so that's the ceremony. Right? That's the whole process of the Azazel goat. We have a reasoning of why we're doing it. We were instructed by Hashem. Rashi explains it's a way to bribe him. But when looking a little bit further into it, I found out something incredible about the deeper secret of Azazel. Apparently, the Zohar says Azazel is actually a combination of 2 names. The name of 2 demons by the name of Aza and Azael. And these 2 demons, their source, their beginning, if you really want to know who they are, you have to go back to Sefer Bereshit. In Sefer Bereshit, there was a time of the Nephilim, the fallen angels. You see, there was a time when the angels did not want Adam HaRishon to exist. They didn't want human beings in the world. So they went to prosecute in the Shamayim. They said, Hashem, you know that they're going to sin. You know that they're going to fail. Don't create them. Hashem says, no, I'm going to create them. He says, send us. We're angels. We're never going to sin. Send us down. We'll do a better job. Hashem tells them, the exact thing that you are prosecuting is the exact thing that you will fail in. In other words, you're saying that you're going to go downstairs and you're not going to fail in what Adam HaRishon is going to, or what a human being is going to fail in. That's the exact thing that you're going to fail in. The thing that you said you're not going to. It says over there, "Vayir'u b'nei Elohim et benot ha'adam." It says benot is in plural. That the angels saw the benot, the girls, the women that came from Adam HaRishon. And it says over there, Adam HaRishon he just failed with one woman, with Chava. They failed with Benot, with many women. That use of the word in plural shows us that they did fail in a much larger scale. Completely opposite of what they thought it would be. So, here's these two angels, they're in the sky. Hashem says, go. They're like these fallen angels. The thing with fallen angels, why are they called fallen angels? Because they can't come back up. Even if they want to, there's no coming back up. So they came down, and they took human form. And they slept with humans. And what came out of it were spirits and giants. Spirits came into the world through the culmination of these fallen angels, Aza and Azazel, sleeping with humans. That's how we have spirits and demons in this world. And back in the days, there used to be giants. Real giants. In the Torah, we have two giants that we know. Og and Sichon. Sichon melech ha'amori, ve'og melech ha'bashan. They were huge. Where did they come from? They came from this combination of angel and human. Now, Hashem, besides bringing that into the world, there's other things that they brought into this world. These angels also taught the human being how to create weapons. He taught witchcraft, sorcery. They taught the women how to use makeup and to beautify themselves. They also taught women znut, how to be harlots. It started with them. It got to the point that their input in the world got so bad, Hashem says, we've got to stop this. He took those two angels, locked them up in chains, and brought them to that mountain in the desert. He buried them inside that mountain, the mountain of Azazel. And they're there until today. Now, people throughout the ages have visited these two demons in that mountain. There, it's a very dark place. It's called Eretz HaChoshech. Very deep mystical secrets about this place and where they are. And basically, anybody who wanted to learn sorcery or witchcraft on a very high level will come to them. Famous people that went to him and were their top students, Bilam that we're going to read about in a couple of parashiyot from now. He went and learned all his sorcery from them. They say that the way that it would happen is that you would find your way to this place and these huge snakes will come out. And there would be this creature that looks like a huge cat with very short legs and the head of a snake that would come out. And the person coming there would have to take the ashes of a white rooster and throw it on its eyes in order to have it take him to those demons. And it would stay with them for a period of 3 days. Bilam stayed longer, but for 3 days, and they would teach him, and then they would go. Freaky stuff. They're buried there until Yom Adin. Judgment Day, when Mashiach comes, and it's going to be the time that we take the Yetzer Hara and we slaughter him, they're going to be stuck there until that day. That day is going to be their end as well. So this is the mountain of Azazel. Very interesting. Imagine the Kohen right now, when he's throwing it off a specific mountain. In that mountain are buried these demons, and they're sort of like, the representatives of the Samech Mem, of the devil. We're giving that little offering. In other words, get busy with this, leave us alone. This is Yom Kippurim, we need good judgment. Very, very interesting. Now, having said that, first question that comes up, why are we giving so much attention to the Samech Mem? Why do you have to give such attention to the Yetzer Hara? What's the deal? I thought we shouldn't pay attention to him. We shouldn't give him any importance. But we see that the ceremony of Yom Kippur, that is the highest day by the holiest man, he's giving attention to that. And the highest moment of the Avodah, he's doing that. Why? And as a matter of fact, we see it in other places in our life. So you have to understand, we spoke in other classes that in order for there to be good, there has to be bad. In order to be hot, there has to be cold. In order to be happy, you have to be sad. It has to be the other side of the rainbow in order to understand how one thing relates to the other. In other words, we don't know what it's like to be a good Jew, or we don't know what it's like to do Avodat Hashem, unless we have a Yetzer Hara there to bother us. He's necessary. Not to the point that we worship the Samech Mem, God forbid, but he's a necessary element in our life. On Yom Kippur, we give him some attention in order to avoid prosecution. That's what we do on Yom Kippur. But where do we see it? In different places. Well, you see, you guys are having a meal right now. Usually when people eat bread, what's the last thing that they do after they eat bread? Mayim achronim chova. What's Mayim achronim chova? We wipe our fingertips, right? We wipe it down and we start Birkat Hamazon right away. What is this ceremony? The Gemara says that we do Mayim achronim in order to get the melach sedomit off of our fingertips. Back in the days, they used to have very strong salt. Then if you would use it for your food, God forbid should you touch your eyes, you might blind yourself. So you would wash your fingertips not to blind yourself. That's one explanation. The deeper explanation, we give Mayim achronim to the Yetzer Hara. We say, what's Mayim achronim? Mayim achronim is when a Jew is eating, the Yetzer Hara, you have to understand, he's a big prosecutor. He's always looking to get you. He goes up right to the sky. Hey, why is this guy eating? Why is he having a meal? Why is this meal meat and wine? What's this seudah? And then upstairs they say, okay, let's check. Does he deserve it? Doesn't he deserve it? Right? So in order to avoid that, what do? We give Mayim achronim. Here, take a little bit. This is for you. Mayim achronim chova. It's for the Sitra Achra. In order for him not to prosecute us in the Shamayim. In Kippur, right? We have this. The Azazel. That's also, leave us alone. We don't want to get persecuted. In the tefillin, did you ever notice on your tefillin, there's a few hairs sticking out in the front? Mm-hmm. Notice that? Pick it up tomorrow, and you'll see on the tefillin of the Rosh, there's a few strings sticking out. Why are they there? Couldn't the Sofar have snipped them off and done a clean job? A tefillin is not kosher unless it has those things. You know why? Because when a Jew is praying, because you have to understand the concept that the tum'ah can only live off kedusha. The fuel for life of tum'ah is kedusha. So in order for the tum'ah to live, it needs a source of kedusha. So when a Jew is praying, you better believe that the tum'ah, the sitra achra comes and starts to suck from those little strings. It gets its source from your prayer as well. You know, there's a custom when we do Havdalah. There's we take the wine after the Havdalah and we put it on our forehead, eyes, lips, on our throat, so we can protect our eyes, so we can say the right things. You know, there's a whole ceremony over there in Havdalah. At the end, you're supposed to take a few and go like this and put it on the floor. Why? Same thing. Leave us alone. Yes, a little bit for you. Go. Maybe you never paid attention to it, but it's part of our everyday life. It's part of our culture. It's part of what we do. Everybody does Mayim achronim. And Mayim achronim chova. It's a must. So here we are. We're getting a little bit deeper into the understanding of the goat and why we're doing it, and there's the whole concept that we give the Yetzer Hara his share in order to leave us alone. Just want you to know, how does the Yetzer Hara, what is his job? In this world, while you're alive, he tells you, do this. it's loud, it's okay. He starts making you think like whatever you're doing is 100% okay. He starts to give you all the reasoning against what's exactly the truth, against what's the halakha. He makes you, he tricks you to believe that what you're doing is right even when you're sinning. That's when you're alive. You know what he does when the person goes up to the heavens after 120 years? You know who's there before you? He is. And you know what he's doing over there? Prosecuting you. He's like, this guy did this, he did that, he sinned, he ate, he drank, he did all these, all the Taryag mitzvot. He talks about you in a negative way. You look at him, hey, but you're the one that convinced me to do it. Now you're up here saying that you're prosecuting against me? I don't get it. That's the Yetzirah. Why? What does he tell you? So the judge looks at him and he says, yes, why are you prosecuting against him? He goes to me, you tell me. You have the rabbi and you have the student. You have the Lord and you have the Yetzirah. Who do you listen to? Hashem. What are you listening to me? That's what he says. He says, what are you listening to me? Who told you to listen to me? Hashem told you what to do. You're not going to listen to what Hashem said. You're going to listen to me. So imagine, he tricks you over here and he prosecutes against you in the Shamayim. He's a bad man. But while he's here, what do we try to do? We try to give him something like, leave us alone. We just want to get the good judgment from Hashem. And there's just certain places that we do it. Lastly, I want to say something very interesting. The two goats are actually two Jews, if you think about it. What did we say about two goats? One is the Hashem, and one's the Azazel. One goes directly to Hashem. The other one goes in the other direction. So let's see. Let's imagine that we're those goats, right? Two goats, we're right there. So they're looking at each other, there's the lottery. All of a sudden, one goat sees the other one being taken away by the Kohen, slaughtered, being put on top of the altar. He's like, poor goat. Look at him, he's such a nice guy. He was doing everything right. Look at it, now he's not going straight to Hashem. Then the Kohen comes back, he puts his hand on his head, he's like, oh look, the Kohen's blessing me. Everything's so good. Meanwhile, he's putting all the curses on him. And the goat starts to, then they start walking him. Oh look, he's taking me for a walk. Everything's so good. I know I'm the best. I know I'm doing everything right. All of a sudden, he comes to this to this cliff. Oh, what a scenic view! Everything's so beautiful. Things are working out for me. Boom! He gets pushed off. Life is over. What does he realize? I was wrong the whole time. I was wrong the entire time. Let's try to explain that. As a Jew, all his life he's trying to become a better Jew. That one is Hashem. Take that guy straight to God. Take that goat straight to God. That's a good one. The other one, his whole life, he's doing bad and he's thinking it's good. The whole time, everything that I'm doing is perfect, like the Azazel goat. Oh, look at that poor guy over there, he's religious, look at him, he's already gone. Look at me, I'm doing everything that I want, nobody's bothering me. But when does he realize? Just when he's pushed off that cliff, he fished and was wrong. There's Jews that feel like they did nothing wrong their entire life until the last minute. But what are you going to do in the last minute? You're already in pieces on jagged rocks on the bottom of the hill. That is the ultimate goal of the Yetzirah. To fool you to the point that you don't know you're doing wrong until the day you die. How many Azazel goat Jews do we know? That don't know that they're in trouble until they're off the cliff. That don't know they're on the wrong way. Point here is that we're in a day and age of information. There's no way that you're not going to know. In order not to turn into that Azazel goat, where only in the 60s, 70s, or on your deathbed, a person realizes that he was on the wrong path. It's a good time. It's a good time to wake up, get on the right road, and be that goat to Hashem. Yeah, I would gladly be that goat to Hashem. Gladly. And while you're going through that, try to bring more people with you. Try to wake up more people around you. Everybody's a mashpia. What's a mashpia? For example, let's say in my house, I'm the father, I have my wife and my kids, I'm the mashpia on my family, right? If I go to shul, there's a rabbi over there. That rabbi is mashpia on that community. The rabbis tell us that every person is a mashpia. Everybody, there's a king. A king has his nation, his people. He's mashpia on them. Says that the rabbi says that everybody's a king. Everybody has a kingdom. Everyone has a world, a little microcosm of his world, and the people that are around him that he can be mashpia on. Try to be mashpia around the people around you. So God forbid they don't become the Azazel goat, that they only realize the right way when it's too late. Bezat Hashem, we'll have a great rest of the week and a Shabbat Shalom.